So I got asked the question here during Lanes of Gaming's stream here. Um, what is more cheap, using a legendary Pokemon or using a revive in the middle of a battle? Well, that actually needs to be. That's kind of a little bit loose definition because depending on the circumstance, both are cheap in terms of just in general, because like that's like saying using like basically having every slot that you have available for either armor or weapons in Destiny 2 to be all exotic. And we all know what that will be if Bungie ever decided to allow exotics inside Destiny 2 to be, instead of restricted to one per item type, it's allow every slot to have an exotic. You'll just be really overpowered and whatnot. So, depending on the situation, either one can be considered cheap. If it was just a regular, like a legendary v legendary, that's using a legendary isn't a big deal. But if it's a legendary versus a regular Pokemon, like just like your everyday, like out in the wild kind of Pokemon, then yes, that's considered cheap. But a revive in the middle of a Pokemon tournament, like a gym battle, I would say is more cheap than using a legendary. Usually, since the gyms are technically considered the bosses of each area of the game, those bosses should be able to be allowed to be fought against with legendary Pokemon. In my opinion, I don't play Pokemon enough to understand how each of the systems work and stuff. I've just seen people play it. I've seen Lanes of Gaming playing it on occasion on a stream. But to my knowledge, to my understanding, legendaries are only really considered cheap if you're fighting wild Pokemon. And revives are only dirty if you're using them in a gym battle. So, but it depends on the very situation that you're using the item or Pokemon in. Think of it like Yu-Gi-Oh with either in the show or an actual like Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic the Gathering or whatever kind of card game. There are these really OP cards that are like super rare to collect. They are usable in tournaments, but they have limitations. They're not all powerful. The TV show of Yu-Gi-Oh will make like the Egyptian god cards the most powerful monsters in the game, when in reality if you play them actually in a card tournament, they're all default values of like attack and defense are, I believe, 4,000 points each. So to summarize this entire rant, it really just depends on the situation. It's not one or the other. The situation has to present itself.